Where do usually more serious clients come from?
TikTok even works, Instagram also works, LinkedIn also works. I should be doing YouTube also. Out of all the other platforms, YouTube is the only platform which actually don't overthink, start doing, be authentic, be yourself on social media. One thing which I've learned is short form content is a lot about the hook. The first 2-3 seconds of the video, very important.
Paid ads versus content.
I haven't done any paid ads in the last. The sales process for an agent remains the same.
Chasing vanity metrics is how you fall as an agent.
Once you need to have a clear call to action. And second thing is,
Real estate people, welcome to the Real Estate Personal Branding Show, where we will be discussing personal branding about real estate with top real estate experts like Tahir Majithia and a bunch of others. So stay tuned. Tahir Majithia, thank you for coming on the show.
my pleasure, Khaled. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yes, you're most welcome. So we'll start off by a quote you mentioned on another podcast. You want your content to be like this, not like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I believe in. You're following and what you put out, it should be very specific to the niche. When you do a lot of things, then you get lost. But if you go focused when it comes to content, especially, then people who are following you know what you do and they follow you for a purpose.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
And when it comes to niching down your content,
Yeah.
well, real estate is a pretty niche down niche.
Yes.
What do you think about niching down further? So those who specialize, let's say, in a certain location or in branded residencies
Yeah.
or a subset of real estate.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's great because see what happens is if you have a specialty and if you do a certain thing, say for example, let's assume someone does, only a specific location like downtown, okay, or a villa community, say like Dubai Hills, whatever they're doing. When you are talking about that, people know that you're an expert in that particular area or that particular type of property. That basically you're giving the people watching a clear message that look, if you need anything regarding this particular type of a property, I know it completely. So it's great. Why not?
Yeah, makes sense. And let's go back before 2021,
Yeah.
before you started content creation and posting on social media. What was your marketing process like?
Oh, well, this regular marketing, which is, advertising on portals or, referrals, these were the only things, mainly portals were the things. And then say ads, running ads, these were the things. But when I started doing social media, I realized that referrals, of course, even today, referrals is a big part of business. Where an existing client is referring a different client, and that is always going to remain. But after doing social media, I realized that why didn't I do this earlier? Instead of spending so much money on ads or on different websites, etc., it's much better to build your own brand.
100%. Yes, and absolutely, refers is the best form of business. It lowers your cost per acquisition to
Yes.
absolutely zero.
Zero.
Yes. So, and when you got started, how did you choose the platform? What was the decision making behind the platform choice?
I mean, see, when I started doing, first I was only focusing on Instagram. Okay. When I started slowly, then I thought that, I should be doing YouTube also. Because one thing which I think I saw one video of Gary Vee, if I'm not mistaken, where he says that out of all the other platforms, YouTube is the only platform which actually pays you, for the views. And I mean, of course, at that time things were different. Nowadays, it's different. So, and I was like, doing my research and I was like, yeah, long form content is, different. It's, so I thought, okay, then I started YouTube and then obviously TikTok came in and then I realized that I should be there on all platforms. But it was, I think there was no strategy behind choosing a platform at that time. It was just about, I used to use Instagram a lot, okay, as a consumer. So I said, okay, fine, we start with Instagram because I know it. It's easy.
Yeah, definitely. Short form content is certainly easier to get into,
Yeah.
while long form content is the harder game.
Yeah.
But can you tell us more about the differences between long form and short form content that you've realized?
See, one thing is long form content stays for longer time. People even today watch a video 3 years back and come back and say, you know what, I watched this video and I want to ask you a question. I want to buy a property, whatever. Okay, they still make an inquiry with a video which probably is 3 years old and it's still running. But on Instagram or TikTok or any of the short form content, once, okay, a clip is viral, it's viral, but dies down eventually. Okay. It's very, very rarely I must have, come across someone sending me, say, a post or a reel 3 years back and asking me that, tell me more about this. So that's the biggest difference, I would say. And I personally feel that people who see your long form content and then approach you are more, the chances of conversion are much higher. And they're more serious, because only when they're serious they would go onto a platform like YouTube, spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever time on it, watching you, what you have to say, and then come to you.
Okay, and on to a more technical concept. Regarding the sales cycle, what's the difference between the sales cycle on social media, from the leads that come from social media, and the leads that come from YouTube?
Look, it's the same thing, I would say. It depends on, just because a lead has come from YouTube doesn't mean that he's going to immediately buy, right? Sometimes, see, people have this misconception that if you've got a lead from your own social media, they're going to buy immediately. No, a lead is a lead, right? The sales process for an agent remains the same, whether the lead comes through social media or a lead comes through a referral. You meet someone somewhere, right? And he says, I'm interested in buying property. Once the person says, I'm interested in buying a property, then all the processes which you have to go through, qualifying the client, asking him his requirement, what he's looking for, what he's seen till now, whether, etc., etc. There are a lot of questions which you ask a client to actually then, take the whole conversation forward. That remains the same. Now, yes, in my personal opinion, I've felt that people who, watch YouTube and come, they are far more serious type of clients than people approaching through some other platforms. But then again, it's not that only that works. TikTok even works, Instagram also works, LinkedIn also works.
Yeah, definitely. And between all short form platforms, let's say TikTok and Instagram, where do usually more serious clients come from?
Oh, this is
Because
very difficult. That is, it's very difficult to answer, because, I've had some of my very good clients who are now not clients, but very good friends today, who saw a TikTok video and they approached me. Also, what happens, Khalid, you have to understand that many a times there are two things. One is discovery and one is point of contact. Now, a person might discover you on TikTok, but might not directly contact you on TikTok. Okay. They might see you on TikTok and then say, okay, let me go and search. Maybe he goes and does a Google search. Okay. And he comes on your website, right? Okay. He sees, he feels comfortable. And maybe he fills out a form on the website. Or he goes on the website and he says there's a WhatsApp, icon. Okay, let me drop him a WhatsApp. The original discovery was on TikTok, but the point of contact was website. Now, probably I might think that, okay, this guy came from my website, but how did he come to my website, right? Or he could even do a Google search and end up on my YouTube page, right? Or he sees me on YouTube, okay, and he's like, okay, how do I contact? Let me see if this guy is on Instagram, okay? Then he goes on Instagram and he drops me a DM on Instagram. So what happens is, being on all different platforms is so important, because you don't know where a person will discover you. They might discover you in one place but contact you in other. Sometimes it has also happened that people are following me, right? And they've seen my stuff. They've seen me on YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform, but they've never made any contact. And they see me somewhere, they come and talk to me. Oh, I follow you on so and so. This is, and they start talking about property. I said, yeah. And then we exchange numbers. So, it's very, you cannot say that this one thing works. You need to keep doing everything. And because content changes so fast, and we need to keep updating ourselves regularly, and we need to keep following what's going on in this space, and you need to be updated. So you need to be there everywhere.
yeah, 100%. It's a very big funnel where attribution tracking is difficult.
Yes.
And you cannot track which lead is attributed from which
Yes,
part of the funnel,
absolutely.
or which traffic source.
Very difficult.
So yeah, definitely makes sense. And regarding YouTube content creation, what type of content was the most effective on YouTube?
I think initially when I started YouTube, I was doing a lot of informational content. I mean, which I still do informational podcasts now. But my content initially was more focused on, say, educating people. So that really helped. After that, I started podcasts. So in podcasts, then obviously, people started enjoying that as well, and that led me to keep going with the podcast more. But I think people really like stuff when you give them some valuable information or educate them. When they get to know something, that really helps you position your personal brand above others, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. And when it comes to podcasts, was it just like every other content creator that wanted to start a podcast, or
No, my point of the podcast was not that, right?
okay,
That's why my number of episodes are not very high. But whatever I've done is I've made sure it's valuable podcast, because end of the day, I feel that my audience is giving me something which is very valuable, which is time, right? If someone sits in front of the screen and is watching a podcast or listening to it for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever time they spend, right? I think it has to really justify. And I want that when, they're giving that time, they should feel that, yes, I spent 20 minutes listening to this. It was really worth it. So my point has always been that I don't want to just do a podcast for the sake of podcast because podcasts are in, or for the sake of just generating more content and, having too much content. No, that's not the point. The point is to give people valuable information, make sure that when they spend that time on it, they get something in return. So that has always been the main focus. And I think if I'm not mistaken, in recently in one of Stephen Bartlett's podcast, I think it was I don't remember who said it, but it's like that because now so many podcasts are coming, authenticity is the key. So you have to be as authentic as possible. So yeah, that's what the whole aim has been.
yeah, definitely makes sense. And yeah, due to an increase in supply of podcasts, now it's even, let's say, harder to stand out because
Yeah.
you get more chances to be less authentic, but you've written it well. So my next question is, when it comes to anyone who wants to get started with content in the real estate industry, what is the first platform that you suggest that they hop into?
I mean, I would ideally suggest whichever platform you use the most and you're comfortable with, start with that. Because then what happens is it becomes easier for you to actually use it, okay, to produce content for it. Because maybe you're using TikTok a lot, or maybe you're more on Instagram, or people are still using Facebook. But if you feel that you're comfortable using that one platform, start with that, because it will make it much easier for you to get into the habit of doing content. Once you start doing and it becomes more of a regular activity, of course you can go on to all platforms.
Yeah, definitely. And between the 60,000 agents in the market,
Yeah.
how essential is having a strong personal brand?
Oh, it's 1000% essential, because that's how you will survive in this market, right? There's so many agents, okay? And this number of 60,000 is not going to stop. This 60,000 agents one day is going to reach 100,000, okay? But how do you stand out? Because when people start looking online, and everybody is looking online today, right? For whatever you want, the moment you say something, you have to go online and search, right? If you come up on that search, that's battle half won. Because out of, say, whatever thousands of agents, if you come up amongst 10, 15, 20, 100 people also online, so at least your chances of getting a client is much higher. Or someone making a contact with you, that saying that, look, I'm interested in property, can you help me? So that chance is more. So you have to, I feel there will come a time that agents who are not building their personal brand, right, will find it really difficult to survive unless they are really well experienced and have a very good client book. That's a different thing. But otherwise, for normal agents, if they want to survive in this market, it's going to be very difficult if they want to compete with personal brands.
Yeah, with the strong personal brand, it's like doing the job on easy mode.
Yeah, I mean, look, see, again, it looks easy,
Okay.
but creating a personal brand is also not easy.
100%.
So nothing is easy, right? So people have to understand this, that nothing is easy. You have to put in the work, right? Now, the difference is, if you really want results and you put in the work, obviously you'll, stand out better than others.
Okay, and now let's go platform by platform. Clear instructions about how to get started and how to grow on short form content.
One thing which I've learned is short form content is a lot about the hook. Okay. Your hook has to be correct. The first 2-3 seconds of the video, 5 seconds, very important. If you have the right hook, because people are scrolling nowadays like this, right? People are scrolling. That's the attention span. Now, in this, how much time do you have to grab someone's attention? It's 1 or 2 seconds, right? So you need to, that first 2-3 seconds is the key for your content to go viral. So you need to make sure you grab the attention there. But at the same time, you need to make sure that when you grab the attention, okay, you don't just waste the person's time.
You reward them.
Because you are targeting people who are not, on a salary of 4-5 thousand. You are targeting people who have, who are wanting to invest a few million into a property. So you need to be sensible enough, right? So that's the main thing, because I see a lot of people are today grabbing attention, and then what happens is, okay, the video also goes viral, but when you go into the comments and you see, it's all the wrong kind of audience they are interacting with.
Yeah, it's vanity metrics.
I don't want, today for me, okay, if I'm using social media, I don't care if I get one DM, okay, from my content, but if it's the right DM of the right person approaching me to invest, that's what you want. You don't want 100 people writing rubbish, okay, and then you have to sort out of that who's the real one who's actually wanting to buy. So that's the thing.
Yeah, definitely. Chasing vanity metrics is how you fall as an agent.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that is for short form. Hook is number one. And you have to reward them after the hook.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to this is for traffic generation. How do you convert the traffic after you generate it?
See, once you need to have a clear call to action. Whether should they send you a DM, should they, connect on WhatsApp or whatever. There has to be a clear communication, which should be there, where the person knows, okay, I'm interested, I should do this. So that is because that will then generate into, someone making a contact with you.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if you just saying, but there's nothing mentioned where, where they should contact you, that's key. And second thing is, don't give out everything. This is also a key. You want the person to come to you, right? That's very clear. So if you give out all the information, right, what a person wants to know, then the chances of they contacting you is less. You need to make sure that you give out relevant information, but not all the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you give them the information necessary to be educated on the product, but not do not
Not
tell them
everything.
implementation.
Exactly.
Not the implementation.
Not I mean, it's not just the implementation, but when you are giving out a detail, you don't give out everything that, okay, this is this. No, keep something that the person should contact you for, right? Otherwise, how will you know, who's interested?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big one.
Yeah, you need to give. I mean, you give proper information, genuine information, but at the same time, there's a limit of giving out everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, and on to the next, which is YouTube. You prove to be one of the biggest channels on YouTube so far.
I don't think so, but
When it comes to real estate in Dubai.
yeah,
Yeah. So how? And we do not calculate it via vanity metrics. We talk
Yeah.
about investors coming and talking
Yeah.
to you. So how does an agent or anyone in the real estate market start, launch, and scale their YouTube channel?
I mean, YouTube, I've learned one thing is a lot about regular posting. Okay, YouTube is, I mean, I personally still feel that YouTube is also one of the most difficult channels to grow. It's not as easy as Instagram or TikTok, because YouTube has a lot of things. Like, for example, on, if you post something on Reels or TikTok, you don't have to think much about your, the captions or the tags and etc. etc.
It has less content variables.
Yes. So even if you sometimes post something on Reels or TikTok without even a proper caption or something, the chances are it will get a lot of views. But when you're putting up a proper video on YouTube, what the title is, what the description is, what the tags are, the thumbnail, there's a lot more work in YouTube as compared to Instagram, TikTok, or any other platform, I believe. So yes, it is a lot more work, but at the same time, it's a platform where your discovery is, what do you say? It gets discovered with people searching that type of content, and also it's more evergreen in terms of content, because, as I said earlier, a lot of videos of mine which are 2 years or 3 years old also, people still watch that and come back to me and say, listen, I watched this video of yours, tell me more. So that is one thing which I think is very key about YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. There are certainly more content variables from thumbnails to the
Yeah.
descriptions and pinned comment section. If we go step by step through every single variable, starting by thumbnail, how would you do it? How would you advise other people in the real estate community to do it?
Thumbnail, very important. It has to be a very, something. Again, thumbnail is like, the first 2 seconds of your Instagram reel or TikTok, where people want to, the call to action is seeing that thumbnail, because not every time someone is going to read what the description is, or what the title of the video is, but thumbnail is instant hook. So your thumbnail is very important, what your thumbnail is. And then comes obviously your title and your content. End of the day, I feel these things are there. What content you produce, that is the most important thing. Like, these things obviously you have to keep in mind, but what really you need to also pay attention to is what you're actually producing, right? If you want to really want that people watching come to you, you need to give them that value, and you need to create content which is practical, logical, makes sense to someone listening, and someone should feel that, yes, I want to contact this guy.
Yeah, definitely. You should build up trust to the point where they come
That
to
is
you.
everything.
Yeah.
You have to build that trust with your audience, and that relationship.
Yeah.
Even if it's online, but they need to feel that, yes, I can trust this person.
Yeah, definitely. Trust and credibility, I think, is the real metric to look
Absolutely.
at instead of vanity metrics,
Yeah.
vanity metrics like views and comments. And on to the next, where people are looking for an answer for a question, which is paid ads versus content.
Yeah.
Now, what we've realized is you scale when you realize it's paid ads plus content. It's both together, because both take real estate on social media,
Yeah.
which is where people's attention are directed. What are your comments on what happened to your process after you started doing content, and did you continue with paid ads, and did your paid ad strategy
No. So
differ?
the thing is, I haven't done any paid ads in the last 4 years or so. Okay, from the time I started creating content. Now, obviously, it took me a while to start generating a good amount of inquiries. It was not instantly, but then I felt that if I start doing paid ads, they'll not grow organically. So I didn't do any paid ads from the time I started doing content, and of whatever I've grown organically, and quite happy with that. I mean, I don't think, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in doing ads, but then I feel it's just how you strategize and how you want to, spend. I mean, I felt that if I spend money on creating content rather than spending on that ad, because see, ad, what happens is you spend, say, you put a budget of 10,000, 20,000, whatever, 30,000. You okay, 1 month budget, 2 month budget, 3 month budget. That is done, right? It's done. The ad stops running, people stop seeing, right? But when you keep doing organic content, your reach starts increasing. So you start getting more followers, more people start watching you, more people start seeing you, more people start sharing your content, and that's how you grow. So I feel a lot, but again, this requires patience. It doesn't happen overnight. A lot of people think that we should just, the moment they start an Instagram account or a YouTube account, they start want to spending on ads just so that people start following them and all. But I feel I would always advise, go more organic and grow organically. That will give you a much better quality of followers than just the number.
Yeah, definitely. Personal branding is an asset
Yeah.
which you keep on building,
Yeah.
while ads isn't.
It's not.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to personal branding, and how did building a podcast affect your brand?
I think podcasts helped a lot.
Okay.
It helped a lot. One thing was that I was one of the few people, who started doing this quite way before than what now people are starting on the podcast trend. So that really helped. But what also helped was that people were watching and listening to these podcasts more regularly. So that helped build, like, audience which was waiting that, okay, when the next episode comes, we want to see, when it comes out, we want to see what next comes up. So that really helped in building a following which was like a how do I say, a client base and a following who's very loyal, wants to work exclusive with you, because they've heard you so many times, they've seen, so they feel that yes, we want to work with this person. It helped a lot building trust. Yeah.
Yeah, trust is definitely the main metric we look for when creating content. And people usually say that like when you create a podcast, you associate yourself with many other people.
Yeah.
So it dilutes the brand. Do you think that's correct?
No, I don't think so. See, it depends on who you are getting, right?
Yeah.
It can either dilute or it can take it higher, right? If you get the right kind of people, you associate with the right kind of people, it can take your association with them to a much higher level. Because then people see, okay, this person is coming and sitting and giving 1 hour of his time talking to this guy. That means this guy is doing something right. But if you get someone who's probably not really done something or is not really a genuine person, then obviously you're diluting your brand. But if you get someone who's really credible, who's done something good, and they speak sense, and people can relate to that, they like it.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think about the current regulations when it comes to content creation in the real estate market?
Yeah.
Because at this point, everyone is one real estate agent to a content creator as well. So what do you think about the current regulations? And do you think the legal entities responsible should put more regulations when it
See,
comes to
regulation
content?
is a good part, okay? Because what was happening is people were just coming out and putting up anything. And I think that needs to stop, because end of the day, look, it's, so many thousands of people putting up different types of content. There are also people who are putting up false information and putting up, misleading and misguiding information. And especially for someone who's looking at, investing in Dubai, in real estate, when they see that information, sometimes they can be misguided, right? Now, what happens is if someone gets wrong information and takes a wrong decision, that eventually will, come back to the industry, because then a person will say, oh, you know what, you should not invest in Dubai. I didn't make money, and they say this and that. But that was because he or she is taking that decision based on a wrong information, on misguided information. But if you have proper information, if you're giving out the right, correct information, that's fine. So I think somewhere regulation is good, because eventually we are, especially when you talk about real estate content, we are not talking about selling a makeup for 10, 15, 20 dirhams, or we're not talking about selling a cup of coffee, or any kind of drinks. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the cheapest property today a person can buy is at least 600, 700,000 dirhams, right? Going up to, it can run into millions. So we are talking about serious money. So it has to be somewhere regulated, because people should get the right information. It should not be that someone goes online and just falls for something, which is not right. So I think somewhere regulation is good. Yes, at the same time, it should not be so regulated also that it's very difficult for someone to create content and put out easily. So I think there has to be a balance, and I think it's a good balance right now.
Yeah, 100%. Currently, it's a good balance, and what they did with the QR codes and
Yeah.
access before
At
posting
least
a video.
people who are putting up are genuine, are associated with the right company. That's very important.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been building Prime Capital for 4 years now, from
Yes.
2021, and mashallah, it's one of the leading companies in Dubai.
Thank you.
And my question is, for every real estate agent who builds a successful personal brand,
Yeah.
they leave their company and they go open their own agency.
Right.
You did it before building your personal brand.
Yes.
But what do you think about them doing it now? Because as a real estate agent, your cut is 50-50 with the agency. But as a real estate agency owner, you get anywhere between 5 to 15%, depends on the shareholders in the company, and the deal ratio with the agent himself. So what do you think about agents?
See,
who
I'll
go
tell
and
you
start?
the two things, right? The two major differences over here. Opening a real estate company, very easy. Easiest part is opening the real estate company. The most difficult part is running one. Okay. Now, here, for me, my biggest advantage is, yes, I have my own company, but at the same time, I also have a business partner. Okay. There's a lot of back end running, a lot of things which is taken care by him, which makes my job much easier. So we have, an understanding where I do my things, he does his things, and when it comes to running the company, right? So that makes it much easier. I see a lot of people who've opened up companies, but they've not been able to get the basics right when it comes to the right kind of staff, the right kind of admin. So when I started my company, I didn't hire any agents for the first 1 year. I didn't hire any agents for the first 1 year, but I hired support staff because my backend and admin has to be really strong if I really want to scale up. Which I see a lot of people start their own company, but they don't know, they don't have an admin. Okay, and they're doing admin work. So I would rather, if I'm in that case, I would rather then be associated with a company which does the admin work and I can do the sales. Also, you know, everybody has a different vision. Okay, for me, my purpose is today to grow my company, to make a better name for myself and for the company, and to make sure that all the people who work in my company grow. That's my biggest agenda, is that I want to make sure that people who are working with me, who are putting their time, energy, effort along with me, they also grow. So today, whether be it, right from an admin to marketing team or agents, I want everyone to grow along with the company. And that's what my vision is, my agenda is. Now, what happens is everybody has their own purpose and own vision. So it depends on what exactly you want to do. Opening a company, as I said, is very easy, Khalid. But running a company is not easy. So unless you know what you're doing, my advice to people is don't just go ahead and open a company thinking you're going to get 100% commission, because there are a lot of costs involved as well. Okay, so until and unless you know what the costs are, what is to be done, then. And I also opened the company after being in the market for so long, when I personally thought that yes, I've reached a stage now where I've done X amount of business. I know now I have X amount of repeat business, and I need to now take care of my clients in a more a manner where the complete authority is with me. That is the time I started my own license. I could have opened my business even 7-8 years back. Now there was nothing stopping me. I could have done that. I did some great deals even in 2016 when the markets were going down. I was selling properties worth a lot, but I could have done it that time as well. But that was not the point. The point is, when you take a decision of starting your own company, you need to have a proper roadmap and you need to know what you want to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, being a business owner is completely different than being a real
Absolutely.
estate agent.
Absolutely.
Here, the game is client acquisition, but here is management and leadership
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
resources. Yeah. And what differences in personal branding should be between the company owner and the real estate agent?
I mean, see, I think, companies need to give agents more freedom to build their personal brand. What is also happening is there are two things, right? One reason why agents leave the company and start their own is because they don't get the freedom. Okay. Now, for example, now someone could be building a personal brand and wants to really grow the personal brand. And some company owners would be like, oh no, this person's personal brand is becoming too. Okay, that's fine. As long as they're associated with your company and you're doing business, you should take pride in saying that they work with me. Okay. So, but not everybody has the same mindset. Okay. So I would say that, as a company owner, if someone, is growing their personal brand, I would be 100% supportive, saying, listen, please grow it. It's great. But this is one thing. So a lot of times, agents leave their companies also because of this reason, that they are not able to grow their personal brand, staying in a company. So, but otherwise, I think there's nothing wrong. And globally, if you see now, with not just in Dubai, but globally today, what's happening in the US and UK, personal brands are becoming big and big. I mean, look at Ryan Serhant, for example, right? He didn't start his own company for so long, right? He started just a couple of years back. So, you need to understand and learn something from the guy who's probably, killing it today on social media, that, there must be some thinking strategy behind it.
Yeah, certainly opening your personal brand and tomorrow opening a company and becoming a brokerage owner isn't
Not at all
the
same.
most
Totally
optimal
different.
decision.
Yes.
Yeah. And regarding your role changes, how do you manage time to create so much content? Because what I see is you put so much content on 2 posts per day on social media and then distribute it on YouTube and podcasts.
I mean, look, obviously you need a team for that. So that is very important. But more than that, look, it's just managing, your responsibilities. End of the day, it's become business. Okay. It's pure business for me. And for me, it's very clear that today I'm generating business through social media. So I do it regularly without, trying to be as consistent as possible, because that is what is generating business. That's where the business is coming from. And if you know something is working well, why not do it more and more? So that is something which is, you have to put time out. It's like doing any other marketing. Okay. If you had to do any marketing, you would still sit down with your marketing team, decide what you want to do, whether you're running an ad, you're putting a ad in a newspaper, or putting up a poster. You'll still spend time on doing stuff. And just, if you just organize it and put a proper calendar to it, I think it's not that difficult. It seems a lot that's very difficult and all, but once you make it a habit and it becomes, a part of your daily routine, that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to become a part of your business. It's now, if you think that content and, content creation, and not just for real estate, I think any business today has to be there online. And people think, oh no, people are not going to buy this expensive item seeing online. No, it's online only. Today, even let's take fashion, right? How does fashion get promoted? People see, some celebrities carrying a certain, fashion item, and that starts trending. So where do they see it? They see it on social media, right? So same way, whether it is real estate or whatever business you're in, it has to be seen for it to grow.
Yeah, definitely. And how important do you think going on other people's podcasts?
Yeah.
Not on your own. No, I'm not talking on your own podcast, but other people's podcasts.
Look, it's very important, because collaboration is key, right? You don't know who is going to discover you where. So there is, I think it's a very essential part that it's not just about your own podcast, but you also are seen on other people's podcasts. So that is also a way of actually gaining authority, because that's also a way of, a client knowing that, okay, the person is not just calling people on their show, but is also invited on other people's podcasts.
Yeah, definitely. And that is regarding the video content. Now, regarding the text content, like platforms like Twitter or LinkedIn, we know Twitter is not effective in our niche. What do you think about LinkedIn? And are you on it?
I am on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm not the best or the most active on LinkedIn yet. I am personally not a very text kind of a person to write along this thing. But I think there is a lot of attention on LinkedIn as well. So it's not that you can miss LinkedIn. You need to be there. Now, sometimes, look, every platform is different. And if you're not really very, comfortable using the platform, there are a lot of apps and ways today to just repurpose your content on these platforms also. So you just use it, right? Like, for example, one of my clients who actually saw me on TikTok, but contacted me on LinkedIn. Okay. Because for him, probably he thought maybe using LinkedIn is easier. Let me see if this guy's there on LinkedIn. Okay. And he just dropped me a message on LinkedIn. So being on that platform and being, I'm not saying go and do something specific for it, but at least being there and being visible is, is also something which helps, and people see, there are a lot of people. I personally know a few of my friends who are not really active on Instagram, who are not active on YouTube, but they get to see things on LinkedIn. And when we meet, and they're like, I saw your video on LinkedIn, right? So at least it's, a recall, right? A person is seeing you there. So I think putting up content on all platforms is very important.
And many might think that when putting up content on all platforms, you'll have to create unique pieces on each platform.
No,
you just repurpose.
You just repurpose.
Tell us about repurposing.
Very important, because that is what drives people to long form content, especially and not only that, what is also happening is while repurposing, because say for example we're doing a podcast right now, okay, we sit and talk for 1 hour. In this 1 hour, whatever we must have spoken, there must be something which might go just which might resonate with people, and people start sharing and liking it, okay, and you don't know what that is. Okay, and that comes out only in repurposing. Now, maybe this whole 1 hour episode, not everybody is going to watch, but maybe that 15, 20, 30-second clip, probably a lot of people would want to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Repurposing is as important as it gets.
Very important.
And it's one of the easiest methods to create content.
Yeah.
Just create one long form.
It's the easiest way to do it.
100%. And when it comes to repurposing from long form to short form, some things get taken out of context. Yeah. What about that?
I mean, look, now what to do? Sometimes what happens is, because people are not watching the whole thing, they don't know what you said after or before. So it can happen that people take it out of context or, start talking thing, but then sometimes you have to ignore things. You've not done it. You know what you've said. So you need to just make it clear that go and watch the full episode and then make your judgment. But otherwise, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, 100%. And if we give, before you end the show, if we give real estate agents or people in the real estate industry more actionable steps to create content, what would be like a straight up, clear instructions for them?
Very simple thing. Don't overthink. Start doing. Be authentic. Be yourself on social media. Don't try to fake things on social media, because you have to understand that eventually when someone comes and meets you, right, they've come with a certain impression. Okay. Now, when they meet you, and if you are different, that breaks trust, because they'll be like, oh, this guy I saw on social media was like this, and now when I meet him, he's different, right? So there the trust doesn't build. But if they see you on social media in front of the screen, and then they say and tell you, oh, listen, you know what, you're the same, that builds more trust. In fact, the thing is, they say, then whatever they've seen, they believe that, yes, this guy is showing me the right stuff. So, be authentic, build trust, don't overthink, and just keep doing. A lot of people think that I want to learn social media, I want to do this, do that, and then I'll make the perfect video. That doesn't happen. Today, I am sitting in front of you talking, confidently, but when I made my first proper professional YouTube video, it was a 6.5 minute video, which took me 3.5 hours to record. Okay. It took me 3.5 hours to record my first proper YouTube professional video, which is only 6.5 minutes long. Okay. Where I'm trying to explain something. And I was frustrated by the end of it. But I kept doing. And today, okay, if I have to, go and record, I'm ready and I'll do it. But that only happens with practice, by doing it again and again. So I tell people, look, don't overthink. A lot of people think, oh no, first I'll go and do this, I'll do that, then I'll go and make, is this shirt looking nice? Is that looking? No, if you're wearing this and going to meet a client in real life, then the same thing is okay on social media as well. What's wrong? You don't need to pretend. You need to be what you are.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So authenticity to build trust, then consistency to build your brand, and then just start.
Don't overthink.
Do more, then do better, then
because
change.
While doing, you'll understand what is right, what is wrong, right? By doing it again and again, you'll realize this is working, this is not working, and that's how you learn anything, right? It's like you cannot say that teach me swimming and then I'll jump into the pool. You have to jump into the pool to learn swimming. So it's the same thing with social media.
Yeah, 100%. And okay, after starting, how important is mentorship? And do you have a mentor?
I mean, I've had a few mentors before. When it comes to business and stuff. In social media, I had a few friends who I really, who taught me things and who I could take advice from, and who I could, discuss if I ever felt that, things. So yes, even if they're not mentors, it's very important for you to have at least a few people in your circle who you can at least call and ask for advice, that, what do you think, this is right or wrong? What should I do? So that's something very, very important.
Amazing. That was a really good point. Now, the last section of the podcast, this or that.
Yeah.
I will give you 2 separate options. You pick one.
Sure.
Paid ads or social media?
Social media.
Social media or YouTube?
Social media or?
Short form content or long form content?
Long form.
Okay. Podcasts or educational videos?
Both.
No, pick one.
Podcast.
Okay.
Because podcast can be educational as well.
Okay. Amazing. And paid ads plus content or content alone?
Content alone.
Perfect. Amazing. That was good to know. If there is anything you want to add at the end of the show, what would you say?
Well, just want to say, we as a company, we're growing. If anybody is in the real estate market wanting to grow, wanting to build a personal brand, at the same time be a broker, feel free to contact me. I'm always looking at, good people to join my team. So that's the only thing. If any brokers are watching this and they want to, get into, real estate, or they're already into real estate and want to build their personal brands, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have a link in the description. Tahir, it was amazing having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Khaled. It was my pleasure.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll be posting more content about personal branding. This was the first episode, and talk soon.
Thanks.
That's
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Thank you, Tahir.
Thank you, brother.